All right, testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Making sure that the audio is working well. And also waiting for a few minutes for people to hop on in. Hello, hello. Jen and the Empress at 11:11, which I don't know if you're going to allow me to say your first name, so I'm not going to say it. Hello, Angela. Welcome. Welcome, you guys. Fireflies, Jeanette. Jeanette wants an Aries read. Hello. Empress. Appreciate that. Love and Light Collective. Hello, Leanne. Parmveer Baines absolutely is. Hey, guys. So, here's the truth of the situation at this particular moment. I totally don't have a plan for where this video is going to go. Actually, the directions was basically for me to just take a leap of faith and to come on here and just be. And through the beingness, I would discover the message that wanted to come through. But really the intention behind it too was kind of like Spirit directed me and said, it's kind of good to just have a mid-monthly check-in with people and just see and feel how everyone's doing out there. Because I know the month of May has been, let's just say it, crazy to say the least. And quite a month where things will never quite be the same. So, I said that precisely at 212 hit here. So the first thing, wow, that's pretty crazy. The first thing that I just want to share with you guys is, besides the fact that there's really no point to this video besides whatever is going to spontaneously come through, is that you have to know that this month of May, whatever you've been working on, whatever perspective that you have been going through or changing or transforming, it's going to be something that is never ever going to look, feel, or be the same. This is a month truly where we are burning the ships behind us and we're moving forward in a new way that is 10, 20, 100 times more powerful and or authentic. And they're saying the power actually comes from the authenticity from which and where we're moving forward from here. So I feel like this message is going to turn out to be a kind of a state of the union, so to speak, of the collective energies and what's going on specifically and what they want us to know. And so the first thing they're showing me too is they're showing me like a ship, like a beautiful ship. And it's got this like beautiful like mast, and it's got the wind blowing through the sails, and it's moving forward at a really good pace. And it almost just looks like this regal, golden, and I can see a dragon at the very front ship of people moving forward with this new profound set of confidence, strength, and power in what they are in and of themselves. So the first message around this is your power, your confidence, your strength moving forward is going to come from your authenticity moving forward from this month. And your authenticity is a result of just how much you love and how confident you are in exactly what you are and what you are made up of and made out of. And they really want me to specify that this is more on a human level. So if we get past or we move past the fact that we are all of one source of the creator of God, and we come from that place, and then we understand the fact that each one of us as individual representations of God in our own bodies, in our own traits, and our own pieces of history and conditioning, and our own strengths and weaknesses are made up to be exactly perfect for the highest divine purpose that in which we were created, when we rest in that knowingness, then we can actually dive deeper within, with faith and trust and comfort and safety being created in exactly who and what we actually are. And we can rest with confidence that the beingness itself from which we come from and which we are is in fact our greatest possible superpower. That from the place of beingness from which we are, there is true magic that lies already inherently within. And so the difference they want me to point out at this particular moment for everyone here, besides wiping off my shirt, as they're saying, what are the things in which you feel compelled or obligated to do in order to increase your beingness in a certain way, shape, or form? So is there anything right now, if you were to introspectively look within yourself, right, as to things that you are currently doing, they could be habits or ways of being, or just things that you feel the compulsion or compelled to do, that you feel you need to do because it's increasing what you are, or it's needed to add on to, okay, or to replace, even in some respects, or to kind of buffer on top of who and what you already are. And they're saying this is a month to look at those specific things, those habits, those tendencies, those actions that you are doing, and to examine where they are coming from. And they're saying those are specifically the actions, where those actions are coming from, that are keeping you from being as authentic, and therefore powerful in your own beingness as humanly possible. And it's only once you recognize what these actions are and you actually let go of the need to do those specific actions and or ways of being and or habits. It's only once you're able to let those go, after you become aware of them, that you can then fall back into, they're using the metaphor, fall back into the depths of what you actually are, which will then redirect your path into where that whatness wants to go. So let me see if I can kind of clean this up from a human perspective now that they've given me this information. By the way, I found it very fitting because they're like, I was like, I asked Spirit, I was like, why are we going live today? And they brought this up. They're like, because I was originally going to do like a channeled horoscope or like a little message or something like that with the tarot. And so it didn't feel right. I was like, well, why didn't it feel right? And they're like, well, those are just things you think you need to do in order to get views, in order to keep people captivated, in order to keep their attention, right? You feel obligated to rely on some external tool such as astrology and or tarot instead of your very beingness. And that was seeping into every single part of my creation here and my presence on YouTube, even the titles as well, because the title was going to be completely different. It was going to be like channeled horoscope May 2021 for, something catchy here. But when I came from this place of beingness and I said, okay, that's definitely something that is outside of myself that I feel I need to rely on or to do in order to add on to or to make even better who I already naturally am. And what I'm realizing now is that's just all been a facade. All of it's been a facade. All of it's been an illusion of what is actually being called from me or necessary from me. And I'm not saying that, astrology's bad and tarot's bad. I mean, I freaking love those things, but it's not required. Because what is required is simply me showing up to the table and being and saying and doing already what I'm naturally able to be, say, and do without anything else, as I am in this moment, moment by moment, each and every single day, in all the ways that I feel called to do so. Which is scary. It's pretty terrifying. But it's kind of that give and take relationship in order to be and do that you have to develop with spirit. Is basically, okay, spirit, like if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to be this, and if I'm going to just rest in who I already am, is this going to work out? Like, is everything going to be okay? If I just go out into the world or onto YouTube as one example and be exactly what I am without anything else, is it going to be okay? And that's where that leap of faith, that blind faith in God, in the divine, in spirit, in the creator, whatever it is you want to call it, but that's where the blind faith comes in. And now I know, after going through this and being what I am, that the message is simply that. The message is simply, in this month of May, the transformation that's occurring for each and every single one of you watching now and in the future, this video, is what are those ways of being and those actions, those items that you are doing because they felt like they were giving you safety, they felt like they were giving you comfort, they felt like they were validating, right, who and what you are or what you thought you were, because you thought you needed to add them on top of who you already were, again, in order to feel safe and secure. What are those specific things, ways of being, and habits that you can then look at, become aware of, see where they're coming from, and then let go of? And they just showed me like a giant sword coming in, cutting off all of the fat, right? All this excessive gooiness or fat that's attached to those things that we've been doing, and to just leave it bare, whatever it is we actually are. And it's when you get to that place this month where the opportunity for that transformation is to occur, right now and for the rest of this month, it's from stepping into and taking that blind leap of faith, literally jumping off the cliff and having faith in that, that's where that transformation will occur. And from that place, your life will never, ever be the same. We're going to see. We're going to see as a live experiment, by the way, if this is real, if this is working, right? If I can just come on here and be myself and share whatever comes to heart with you guys without anything additional that I thought I needed to do or be or rely on, and see if it's enough in order to be of service and to allow me to progress in all the ways that my soul authentically wants to progress. So we're all finding out together in this particular moment. And we'll just see where it goes. I'm going to read some comments now after that channeled information and message. And let's see if we can vibe here with the questions in the comments and kind of see where it goes. Taylor Mason says, I need to stop feeling like I need someone to talk to every day and just be with myself and my emotions. Beautiful. Michelle Pierce, you are already doing that. That's what actually keeps up coming back. I think she meant keeps us. You channel our higher selves. Thank you. Nicole K, being your authentic self is enough, Brandon. Thank you. Kirsten says, it's more than enough. I share this message with you. Wow. Parmveer. Thumbs up. Sun Pie, thank you guys so much. Okay, so I was having a conversation with my neighbor this morning, and I said, I know that all of this is real because of that in between space of up and down and left and right and wrong. Yes. Yes. Yes, the space in between. I love it. Taylor Mason, 222 here. Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. And what I want to do with this too, just what I'm feeling called to say is like, let's use this as an opportunity, honestly, for those of you guys here now and those of you guys who are watching this video in the future, right? If you can look at the chat, which I'll have the chat playing. If you guys can see the messages coming through in the chat right now that are affirming, right, who I am just for being myself. Like, and I want to put this out there, not to talk about myself, but just to share, like, from a place of vulnerability where I'm coming from is like, I was terrified. I am still terrified. I'm like, okay, I need to go back to the tarot, like, or I need to go to the astrology. Like, I'm not going to give enough value, right, if I'm just sitting here talking. But if you look at the comments and people just sharing with me, and I'm taking it in too, I was like, hey, Brandon, like, you channeling this message in and of itself, coming from a beingness of who you already are and what you're already doing, is more than enough. That is the exact same message, right, that the loving, amazing people here in the chat are giving, that I would like to reflect back to you. And this maybe can serve as proof. Maybe that's corny, I don't know. I don't really care. But maybe that can serve as proof to you that if I can do that in my one area of vulnerability or fear of, like, really I'm known as someone who, is an astrologer or is a tarot reader, and specifically like a love and twin flame tarot reader. You know what I mean? It's like spirit's just like my soul is just like, that is not on my journey anymore. Like, it's just not in resonance with who I am and where I want to go from here. So I had to come face to face with that, right? I had to come face to face with the fact that, okay, there was an identity that I had taken on in order to serve a certain purpose, in order to be of a certain part of service for the world, that is now disintegrating right before my eyes and soul, right? And collectively, right, that's actually precisely what is going on, but it's happening so that we can kind of, what they're saying is like, so they're giving the metaphor of the ship keeps coming up, and I want to share it with you guys. So the ship they're showing, it's like, it was a good ship the whole time. That's crazy. It was like, they're saying it was an amazing ship the entire time. It's just the sails were set in the wrong direction. The sails were set in the wrong direction. And because it was set in the wrong direction, it was actually making the ship less effective. And they're actually showing it was like harming the rigs of the sails. So the rigs of the sails were getting all like torn up, right? And it's because the sails were improperly placed, is what they're saying, right? So, and they're using this as a metaphor for May and where we're all at and what's happening energetically. But they're saying, apparently I'm not a sailor yet, but apparently what they're saying is you can misplace the direction of a sail itself. Like on the ship, you can put the sail up, and then you can kind of put it in an improper position or alignment in accordance with the wind. And they're saying energetically this month, that's what we're becoming aware of, is like the direction or position or positionality of the sail itself on the beautiful, amazing golden dragon ship encrusted with blue and green gemstones. This beautiful ship that they're showing me, representative of each of our individual vehicles or bodies or selves or pieces of God. It was just set in the wrong direction, and therefore it was just not taking advantage of or utilizing the wind or the resources or the flow of where the universe wanted to take the ship in the best of ways. And in fact, it was doing it in a way that was harming the integrity of the sails and tearing the sails to shreds. And they're saying right now, what we've done is we've kind of, again, we're trimming off the fat. We're trimming off those shredded portions of the ship, letting those go, letting the shreds be shreds, tearing off the rest of the thing. And then we're actually repositioning the sail to be in perfect harmony and alignment with the ship in a way that takes or has the most utilization of the direction that the wind or the universe wants to take the ship. And now that all of this is coming back into alignment and we're kind of tearing off the fat or we're shedding off the things, now we can just go. And we can go fast. And we can go very strongly. And as we go, it's making much more of the showing me like an indentation of the ocean itself. It's interesting. They said before, I don't even know if this makes sense on a metaphysical level, but they're saying before the ship was kind of, it was like resting on top of the water, right? It was kind of like just skimming across the top of the surface of the water. And they're saying now it's actually in the water, like parting the water. You see that? Like making its own waves. Like before, it was like the ship was dependent upon the waves almost to kind of, the waves were kind of just like moving in certain directions. And it was just like, oh, where are we going? We're going this way, I guess now, or we got to go this way, right? We're at the whim of the waves. And now the ship's like, it's like sunk into the ocean. And now it's like making its own path forward in a way that's just like parting the sea around it. And then of course like Moses and the parting of the Red Sea comes to mind. But it's like we are now sitting so deeply, or we have the opportunity at least to sit so deeply within our own self and selves that we can literally open or part the way forward, which then makes massive ripples or impacts across the ocean to the rest of the ships in the sea. Okay. So this is the metaphor. And again, the how of that, right? Or what's actually physically happening. Again, 22:22, crazy. As I look at the clock, right? The how of that, again, is needing to recognize, okay, what parts of the sails are torn to shreds, one, that need to be cut away, right? To show me an image, again, of a sword or a blade, like you could say a pirate sword. This whole thing came from like Pirates of the Caribbean, by the way. Okay, if you like that show. But they show me this, cutting off the ragged ends of the sail that were torn to shreds from the previous direction. And then, of course, taking the mast of the sail and almost like repositioning it into, now it's fully sit in with the rest of the ship. And now it's just full force ahead. But it's from this place of full embodiment, right? But you can only get to that place of embodiment when you are not letting your energy out in a way that feels like it's required. You know what I mean? Like the only way you would leak your energy outward in a way that would be, not utilizing the wind of the universe to take you in a certain direction is because there would be this thought or need from the mind of, oh, I need to be doing this in a certain way, or I need to be doing this certain action, or I need to be doing this certain habit in order to be valid, worthy, loved, fill in the blank, right? For me, let me just think about what it was for me. It's going to be different for everyone, but for me, it was probably in order to be validated, I would say, is kind of the cut off. What else? What else for me? Validated's one that comes to mind. I would just say like effective is another one. Like the feeling or need that I need to do astrology or do tarot or do this thing in order to be effective, right? Like I didn't feel like my beingness itself was going to be effective enough. So I needed some tool outside of myself in order to be effective. You guys see how I explored that within myself. These are the questions, right, as a recommendation of action for you guys to do. Because I always like giving you guys action items, right, and homework. If you've been one of my clients, you know I like to give homework. So this is the action of what I'd recommend. Okay, the tangible, actual how-to action of where to go from this message. Okay. Identify what those actions are. See why it's there, where it's coming from, what the need was that it served for you, that you thought was necessary for whatever reasons, fill in the blank. Whew. Take the leap of faith, cut that away, come back into your beingness, and then on a practical, tangible level, now, if you're just being you, like if you're literally just being you, and you let go of any other type of need or requirements to do anything else outside of what is necessary to survive for you in this moment, by the way, if that applies, then now from that place, what actions does your soul lead you to take? Okay, because those are the actions, that's the direction, that's the pivot. Pivot. They're saying pivot's a very important word for this month. It's a pivot. Total switch in direction. So there is some necessary pivot, most likely, right, in the direction of your life in some area that is taking place, just as a little validation or confirmation here if you've been feeling this. And yeah, and so the way to find that, again, is coming into that place, and then, okay, from there, what actions does my soul want me to take? Where do I want to go with this? What do I want to do? And is there genuine desire, curiosity, and excitement around that area? The other thing they're sharing with me too around this, it's cool because the more I get into it, the more present I get with this flow, the more they give me. So they're saying the biggest thing to look at with this is there has to be a genuine feeling of excitement and or curiosity around it. So saying if there's no genuine feeling of passion or excitement around it, even if it's something that you're really good at or you like doing generally, or that it's served a purpose in the past, saying even if there's something like that in your life that's filled a certain void or it's served a certain purpose, but there's no passion or excitement or desire to continue moving towards it or being within it, that means that that thing is no longer in the most authentic of ways the thing for you to head towards in that direction. And this could be in anything. This could be in your relationships, it could be in work, it can be in family, it can be in, projects or passion things. But for most of us, I feel, especially for this, my audience and this collective, which I don't even know who this collective is anymore. It's probably going to shift quite a bit or evolve, I would say. But I feel like we're in a place where that is the essential task, right? Is rediscovering who we are and what our superpowers are, what our inherent magic is, through the beingness, through only our beingness, our very beingness. Okay. So that's the message, and let me see if there's any questions. Okay. Let me see if there's any questions. I did say Q&A in the title, so I think that was part of it. But thank you guys so much. This is amazing. So let's see what you guys have to say. So the Empress at 1111, more meditating is what I'm called to do. That's awesome. That's awesome. I am also called to do more meditating too, and to find out more about magic and chakras and astral projection, hopefully. Rebecca, hello from TikTok. Welcome. Glad you found the channel. Maria says, big kiss from Spain. Thank you, Maria. I accept that kiss on the cheek. Hopefully. I think it's culturally appropriate to have, I think Spain, it's culturally appropriate, right, to give, it's kisses. I haven't been to Spain, but I need to go. Sun Pie. Tummy is in knots in this moment, but it's so exciting. Absolutely. That's how you know that you're on the verge of a huge shift and transformation, by the way, Sun Pie. Absolutely. So follow that feeling. Follow that feeling. Take that leap of faith. And trust me, it's not easy, but it's so worth it. Michelle says, I feel like a veil is being lifted right now with what I'm called to and capable of. Excited, but also a bit scary. Burn the ships. I love it. I love how we've been saying burn the ships, and then the metaphor that Spirit used to show me all this is a ship. I'm like, thanks. All right. Okay, Kirsten says, any cord cutting recommendations? Yes, absolutely. It's funny. I had a feeling, I had a thought about making a cord cutting video specifically, but I think it was just meant to be answered in this way. So I'll answer that question in a second. Praga says, any messages about the spiritual war? We can get into that too, if you want. I think that might be relevant. Taylor says, I think I might be a channeler. I just realized. Probably. I would imagine. Probably. Absolutely. Especially if you're on this channel and you're like seeing me do it and you're like, oh my gosh, wait, I can do that. Or I've already got that message that Brandon got. He's just speaking about it, but I knew that a week ago. That often happens with this collective. I get people coming, they're like, Brandon, they're like, thanks for confirming, but I already channeled that like 4 days ago. I'm like, oh, great. I'm late to the party. We got these true divine feminines over here making this this masculine making this masculine feel feel where he's at in terms of the natural abilities. But I absolutely love it. I realized more and more this channel, this collective, this whole beautiful, beautiful chat and everything, the community that we've created and are creating, it's for this. It's for you guys to see what I'm doing and be like, wait, I can do that, or I want to do that, or like, wow, he's doing it, I can do it too, right? It's like, I want you guys to see that and feel that and go be sparked into what you need to do. And I feel like, and I think Shaylee, if you're watching, just an amazing friend and former client and person. That's what she said. She's like, dude, you sparked something alive as you come on here and you're beingness. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Like I was confused, but I get it now. And this makes sense. So anyways, I feel my purpose is just, I have some of these cool abilities to channel things like that. I could read the tarot, I could do astrology, but it's really in the beingness of who I am. 3 cardinal signs, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, just meant to spark people. So thank you for that. That was really cool. Sunpie, don't be scared. All right. Empress says, I channel through writing. That's awesome. Yeah, there's always going to be a unique way. Lee Thomas says, LOL, I had that with the shadow work. I started 1 week before you brought it up. See? Okay, let me talk about the cord cutting. So cord cutting recommendations. So, was just talking about this with my lovely client who knows who she is, who's on here. But so cord cutting, that's so funny. I wish I could bring you on here and have you talk about it, because this is what you're going to teach. But so cord cutting is basically, here's why it's important, and we discussed this. If there are lingering energetic attachments between you and any other person that has been created through having a significant emotional and or spiritual connection, okay, of some sort, where there was an interchange of energy on any level, it does not have to be physical or sexual, but it can be. Right? It couldn't be just emotional, obviously, or the emotional bond that's created. Then chances are, especially if this was something that was prolonged, although it can be brief, there might be these set places of energetic attachments that connect from certain areas inside of you to their energy, okay, that was created because it filled a certain void within you. Okay? So it's not an accident, by the way, where these cords or where these energetic attachments are placed. They're always going to be placed in the area where you feel deficient, or energetically where there's a missing piece, there's a gap, right? There's a stair step there, because that person comes in, their energy happens to be a perfect keyhole or perfect fit to that void, and then your energy in a different way happens to fill their void, right? And thus energetic attachment. At least that's how I've come to understand it, or what they're showing me at this particular moment. So knowing that, if that's the case, and that these can last longer than the actual relationship itself, then it would serve all of us, okay, to let go or to detach from those energetic cord attachments. And you'll know that you have here's how you know if you have specifically like karmic, we call them karmic cord attachments with someone or something else, is if for whatever reason your mind cannot get off of them. If your mind or your energy is constantly going to that place, like they keep popping up in your mind, or they keep coming into your energy, or you keep feeling their stuff all the time, and you're literally going crazy because you're like, why is this energy still showing up in my energy, in my mind, and coming up? Most of the time that's going to be some type of energetic attachment. Okay. Oh, there she is. There's Jen. Cord cutting is a great experience. I highly recommend. And so what happens is, once you cut this cord, boom, all of a sudden you have your energy back. And so it feels like, whoa, I don't know what was happening before, but I don't even need to think or feel about that person anymore. They're just gone. And it's like, yeah, because the only reason you were you kept going there is because your energy was literally attached. So anyways, it gives you your sovereignty. It gives you your energy back. Now is a tremendous time to do that. Now here's the how, all right? Now there's different ways of doing this, so just know that if you know a different way or a better way that works for you, that's great. Here's my way of doing it. What I like to do is I like to close my eyes, breathe into my body, okay? And then I like to take my off hand, which is my right hand, because I'm a lefty in some respects, my right hand, and do a scan all the way down my body until I feel if there's a certain area that has a little bit of tightness, stuckness, or any other feeling of like vibration or chaos, or just like feelings of sadness or fear or anything like that, like any emotional kind of chaotic, intense feeling. All right. Stop right there. And this is going to be a very subtle experience, right? You have to be really, just close your eyes and give it a couple times. But if there's a spot that consistently you feel that, and for me, I always know, by the way, if I have cords, it's going to be on my right side, because my right side is my quote unquote wounded masculine side. It's the side that I've been evolving and progressing into, right? So some of you guys, it will be your left side. Some of you guys will be your right side. You just have to identify where that's at. And so I'll typically have cords like here, or like here, or just like here on my hip, like all these areas. And so I'll go, oh, there's a spot. And then from what I do there's a couple things you can do. Once you identify where it's at, okay, you can get very, very present. It's very simple. Take your mind, take your consciousness, get very, very present with that particular spot on your body. And I want you to, as you bring your consciousness down to that particular area, let's just say it was right here, if you guys can see that. If it was right here, I would kind of feel into, or from a higher perspective, see, quote unquote, psychically see or perceive what that is. And this will become clear as you rest. Here's the key word for you guys: rest your consciousness on that particular spot. Okay, so I want to stress that this is important. If you try and go, all right, so you go with the mind. I've done this many times, so this is how I know. If you go with the mind, all right, I'm going to go find these cords. Boom, it's got to be right there. I know it's right there. And you kind of try to like force an image of a cord being there. Not going to work. Okay, all of this has to be a balance of consciously searching for something or consciously intending for something, and the rest being open to perception coming in. Is that making sense to you guys? So that's what I mean. If you do find or feel a spot like that, let's say it's over here on the right side, first you identify it. Okay, woo, there's something there. Great. Then you just keep that hand right there and you allow your consciousness to rest on that spot. Okay. And typically through the resting process of that spot, if there's a cord there, you'll start to see it. You'll start to see this kind of implantation of however it appears to you. It can look like all sorts of different things. I'll typically see like something just emanating from that spot. And from there, I'll take over and I'll imagine that there's a cord there. Like I'll imagine there's cords leaking from there. And I'll literally just imagine if I could just have a blade sword coming out of my hands, like a light blade sword. Now, I want to say something, too, before I continue that's really important. And Jen can validate this because it was really helpful for her. And surprisingly, right, I was surprised at how helpful she said it was. But using the imagination is key here. We often forget that the imagination is not just some random thing that God gave us or that we incarnated with. It's actually our superpower, our way of magic, of manifesting magic or creating change on a spirit level, the imagination specifically. Okay. So if you study anything, books on, shamanism, being a magician, things like that, they'll hit on this too. So imagination. So then you can take it from there and you can imagine blade sword, emanating cord, and go. And I always like to make the sound effect. And you can do it several times if you need to, but I like to make sure I get a clear feeling and image of that cord being separated and cut off. And as I've gotten better at it, I've actually seen more detailed images that my mind will create and or that are actually happening. I'm not really sure which is which in this at that point, of the cord just like flying off in the distance and just kind of seeing this like flailing piece of the cord that was cut, almost as if you were to cut a real life rope or something like that. And then from there, I'll just, oh man, like you'll feel a release. So you'll know it's real. None of this, think of it like this. Like there's going to be some parts where you get to intend and to imagine that this is happening. But when you are really in it, you will actually feel the releases happening too in a very real way. So when I do this right, and sometimes I have to do it several times again, I'll actually feel, oh, whoa, and I'll feel all this energy come back into my body. Okay? So that's how you know. That's how you do it. That's how I do it. Okay? And that's how you know that it's working. Okay? But give yourselves time. Give yourself patience. If you guys have never done it before, it takes time. Be patient with yourself. Sound effect. I love that. Yeah, for me, because I'm more audible. Some people are visual. I'm really audible. That's why I like channel messages specifically, sometimes with my eyes closed, as I'm more hearing oriented. So the sound is really important for me. It infuses power. Okay. One other effect or recommendation after that, by the way, is just to, keep in mind that these cords, they're energetic attachments. So you might have to do this more than once on several different occasions if you feel that this is reformulated. Yeah. And this can get reformulated, not to scare anyone, but because it's not a big deal really, but it can get reformulated by you sending your energy back out. All right. To a certain energy or a certain person. It's kind of that daughter of, remember, I don't know if you guys, those of you guys who were in the live stream, two of the cards I mentioned were Daughter of Swords and the Nine of Swords. Right? It's like the only thing that can keep you in a state of suffering is you investigating, and underneath that was the High Priestess. You guys remember that? So it's coming to me now. The only thing that can keep you guys from suffering is the investigation on an energetic or spirit level. Daughter of Swords, High Priestess with Nine of Swords. that will keep you suffering. So that's, I get it now. See, it always makes sense a few days after from the live stream. But anyways, if you, let's say, just say like, you know what, I just want to send my energy back out because I'm curious or whatever, I want to check in. It's like that will reestablish the energetic cord or connection. And then if you want to get out of it, you got to cut it off again. But you can also set up boundaries around yourself too. And so if you are like sure that you do not want to mess with any other energy, you want to be totally sovereign in yourself, then you can actually, anytime you feel that this, there's another incoming energy that wants to reattach or wants to kind of come in, you could just go no. And you could surround yourself with this light shield, light barrier. For me, for whatever reason, it's like a mixture of, it's almost like a darker barrier. It's like a darkness barrier. I don't know. That's what it shows up for. It's like this powerful black thing that protects me. So anyways, I hope that helps. That's how you cut cords. I think that was definitely a message that wanted to come out for sure. So grateful. Hello. My name's Brandon. I don't think I introduced myself to those of you guys just joining in. How many guys are new? If you guys are new, let me know. But hello, so grateful. My name's Brandon. Welcome. Welcome to the Soul Tribe. Welcome to the Soul Tribe. Oh, Michelle, you knew I'd like that one. Invisibility cloak. Absolutely. Yes, I'm Bubble Boy, apparently. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here. Awesome, Kirsten. I'm glad you guys appreciated it. Hey, Tabitha, what's going on? Jelaine says, the fear we have is if we stop thinking of them, they'll think of us. But really, it's the runner-chaser effect. If we aren't thinking of them, they'll start thinking of us. Yeah, and I would say in conjunction with that, Jelaine, okay, while that may be, I'm not saying that's not a possibility. I'm saying that's definitely a possibility. What I would say is the true empowerment here for the feminine at this time is going so deep into this sovereignty practice and so deep into now in her beingness where her soul authentically just wants to take her with the desire inherent in her beingness, that she gets so excited and so wrapped up with everything she is and is doing because of what she is, that it's genuinely not even a thought that comes up anymore. Like whether or not another person is connected or attached or watching, it's like that's where the energy wants to go. You know what I mean? That's how strong it is. Because again, like you guys have to realize, like I am just as surprised and shocked at the rapid change in the trajectory of the connection, the soul connection that we've been channeling for this whole time. And the fact that Spirit was like, dead in the water, get moving your butt in a different direction, right? They're not going to serve you to linger around in this. So, I'm just there with you guys, to be honest with you, on a human level. I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. So anyways, I do feel that that's where it wants to head. For those of you guys who are wondering or just wondering what's going on or why there was such a drastic change, it's like, I can't explain it, but I do know that that's the energy. And I do feel that that's the most empowering energy at this particular moment to be in. And so if you can do these things like cord cutting or really cutting off the attachments to ways of being or doing that you thought you needed to do or be in order to receive something outside of yourself, that's going to take you in the direction that you want to go. And that's why this message, I know now, after doing it, needed to come out. Boss Mama, hello Brandon, I'm new and I'm enjoying your energy and positive wisdom. Well, thank you so much, Boss Mama. I don't know if you knew that you were going to do this, but it helps me to feel more validated for who I am, just being who I am. So thank you so much, because we haven't even talked about the astrology or the tarot. And that's very freeing for me. I'm like, oh, I can actually come on here and just talk and be myself, and people will get value. And think of what that would mean in your own life. What would it look like if you could just Literally go out and be nothing other than who you are and what you are, without anything outside of that, and what actions that would take you to, or what desire, or what way of being, or what places you would go, for God's sake. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things that it would change and pivot. All right. Sonakshi Sharma, thank you. Welcome to the Soul Tribe. Thank you for the subscription. Much more content, I guess, of this coming our way, of Brandon just in his beingness. Let me see. As long as you guys are watching, I'll be being. And even if you don't watch, I'll be being. So let me see if there's any other questions I can answer before we wrap up here. J.R. Rich says, what about visualization? Is that bad? No, not at all. In no way, shape, or form. That's actually, it's incredible. It's just not my individual way of my strength, my greatest strength when it comes to my way of tapping into the divine. But there are many people on here, right, that I know of that are much stronger in visualization, or it's easier for them to receive images of what's happening and or visualize something rather than hearing it or knowing it happen. So I think visualization is an amazing tool, and it goes hand in hand with the imagination. So remember, if imagination is our greatest spirit superpower, or the way in which through our imagination we can affect things on a energetic or spiritual level right here in the 3D, then visualization, you have to know, is very powerful. Visualization is also, they're showing me, it's an extension that you can effectively use as a tool to help carve your path forward. So they actually want me to touch on this real quick, is that visualization itself, it's like, they're literally showing me like an extension rod that you can put in front of the ship as you're moving forward from your beingness, and it kind of paves the way even more so for the ship itself to move forward. Or it's like an indicator of where the ship should go, or how it should be, or what it wants to do, right? Like it's an intention. So I really feel, especially for you, for whatever reason they want me to really emphasize this point, is like visualization is really key. Now, forced visualization is not, there's a difference between forced visualization or visualization coming from resistance and visualization that is in harmony with, where the universe wants to take you. So remember, it's always a double-seated thing here. You know what I mean? It's a double give and take. Like if you feel that, okay, like let's just give an example. Like let's just say, all right, my soul as a one. I always use myself, and I hope you guys don't get. Hopefully, you guys don't get tired of me using myself as an example. That's the only example that comes up. maybe because I'm conceited, but I'm just kidding. But so let's just say, okay, for example, okay, my soul wants to start being more of who and what I actually am, and to just start putting out more content in alignment with that, right? That's a desire I have, to be seen in a new way, in an authentic way. So I can visualize myself doing and being more of those things, which I know my soul already wants to go. You guys see that? Or I can try and like force visualization of like, let's just say like, oh, like the mind is attached to, I need to be a better astrologer. Like the reason I don't want to do astrology is because I'm not good enough yet, or it's not believable enough yet, right? Or I just need to go even deeper in the tarot, even though there's no authentic desire to do that. I can force myself to visualize myself being more in the tarot. Ironically, what they're sharing, though, is that through that visualization, you will actually discover that that's not where you want to go. So either way, you can't mess up. You can't make a mistake. That's another thing that I want to share with you guys, is like you can't mess up, what you try or where you go. Like it's just all a process of discovery, of self-discovery. That's all life is, really. So even if you visualize the wrong quote-unquote thing, or in a direction that's not as harmonious as where your soul really wants to go, you will learn through the process of that action itself, okay, through the consequences of that action itself, that you want to actually go in this direction instead. So there's no wrong directions. Cheryl Bowman says, Brandon in his beingness. Love this and well said. Thank you. Thank you. Michelle says, so knowing there are others in the same boat is affirming. Do your thing with love and purpose mindfully. The most I can do now is send love to the person and leave to God the rest. Yeah, beautifully said. Okay. Pragya. Really good question. I want to address this. Pragya says, how do I deal with the intense emotions from my twin? Also, what about how much energy he's drawing from me now that he knows my walls are down? All right. So first of all, the question I would ask, okay, and just as genuinely and be as truthful with yourself as you can, is do you genuinely want and desire to be unattached to the emotions from your twin? Like, can you genuinely tell me and say to yourself, really, it's most important, say to yourself, I want to genuinely no longer feel any of these emotions for my twin. Like, I don't want to be connected to him in that way. Like, knowing that you'll always be in some way connected to him on a soul level, but I no longer want to carry or feel the emotions that he's going through. Okay. If you can say yes to that question in a genuine and truthful way, one, that's where it begins. That answer has to be a yes. And you have to be willing, if you are truly wanting to not feel these emotions anymore from your twin and to be sending your energy outward, right? And also it sounds like, right, him draining you because your walls are down, which from what I can feel, by the way, that's like that dynamic generally, right? I would say my recommendation is like, that's a no-no. Like, especially with the energy as it is, like you don't have to do anything, but my recommendation is to take your sovereignty back, take your power back. If anyone at any time ever is drawing from your energy in any way, right, on a spirit level especially, that is a red flag immediately. Okay. No matter how much he needs it, no matter how much you think it's genuine or kind or the right thing to give it or to share these experiences, I would say the absolute best thing to do for your own sake, for your highest good, honestly, is to let's cut all those ties, right? But it has to start with you. You have to you have to say, hey, I genuinely want to detach. I'm ready to detach from him for good. Like, it has to be that strong of a decision. And if you're not there yet, that's okay, by the way. I'm not saying you have to be there. But if you're not there at that place of having made the decision to genuinely detach, then the attachments will stay. Okay. Yeah. Pragya says, I'll like do solar plexus work and it'll be drained hours from then. Yeah. Yeah, it honestly does sound like there's something there. Like I genuinely feel like there's definitely a cord there, particularly around the solar plexus. And that is your power. That is literally your authentic power, right? Of who you are, how you express and what you are. It's literally power over others. And look, Pragya, I mean this as genuinely and with so much love as I can. But if your solar plexus is feeling drained in association with this other person, it means that he's stealing your power, or you're giving away actually your power to someone who's using it for their own purposes, which would be just as a negatively polarized entity would be or do. Okay. So the question you have to ask yourself is, am I ready as a soul to stop giving my power away to anyone, even if they are a twin flame, who is taking my energy to be used for self-service? Okay. This is precisely what negatively polarized entities or people do. what they've chosen. And the hardest part about this path, and I'm speaking on behalf of everyone, not just you, Pragya, but the hardest part about this current part in the path is that a lot of us are realizing, God bless our twins, but they have actually chosen the negative path. They've actually chosen a path of negative polarity or service to self or the illusion. They've chosen an illusion because that's all the negative path is. It's an illusion. It's there to serve as contrast so the light knows what it is. Okay? And so what I would say is this experience at this moment in time, from what I can gather, and again, this is your experience, but I would say it's happening so that you can actually see the reality of what's happening, detach from it, and realize your own power, which comes from the solar plexus. Like the solar plexus, they literally channel this in raw, in the raw contact of like, this is called the yellow ray, the solar plexus right here. And it's how negatively polarized entities control or manipulate or take other people's power by causing them to voluntarily give their energy or power away by persuasion or manipulation or yada, yada, yada. So hopefully that helps. That's my opinion, my perspective, but that's kind of what I feel based on what you've told me without knowing much more what may be going on. And I would highly recommend doing a cord cutting process on that particular spot. Yes, it will be painful. Yes, it will be scary. It might even feel like you're dying if it's that strong of a connection. But it will be worth it. It will be worth it. Okay? All right. That sucks, guys. Look, it's not fun to be this. I am a messenger. I am a messenger of God. I do my best to give as objective of the truth as I can, because it doesn't serve you guys, doesn't serve anyone, doesn't serve me, doesn't serve you guys to say things that are what you want to hear. But right now, again, if truly, like on a collective scale, I'm like, this whole thing, from what I've felt and realized, like the feminine's been dealing with someone who chose the negative path for the time being, indefinitely. And there is nothing we can do about that. Nothing we can do about that until they choose differently of their own accord. And here's the reason why, like we even have to detach in the first place, is because it's up to their free will as to when they want to choose differently. Like it's not some predetermined, fated thing in the universe of like, oh, don't worry, in a week from now, the collective energies will shift and all of our twins will suddenly choose us. It's like, no. Each one of these people or individual souls on their journey that have, through their own free will, chosen that path. And it could take the entire lifetime, years and years and years and years, or the entire lifetime just to make a different choice. Okay? Okay, good. Prague, you're still here. She said, right, I did in the past and it hurt, but I felt rejuvenated. That's exactly what I would recommend. Again. Because you got to do this. Sometimes you got to do it multiple times, right? Because they come back, they reformulate. We let our walls down. It comes back in. Oh, shit, it happened again. Damn it, we got to cut cords again. Right? Yeah. You know what's funny, Empress 11? We were just having this conversation. I was having this conversation with a good friend of mine. But I'm like, I told her, I'm like, I used to be addicted to tarot. Like I used to watch tarot every day, multiple readings all the time. God bless that habit because I learned a lot of how to do it. And it gave me the confidence to start my own tarot channel. But now I don't even want to watch them. I don't even read for myself anymore. Like I've lost the desire to read for myself in the situation because I'm like, dude, the energies are great. Like I know that the other half is like, they have this desire deep within their soul, right? They're still working through some stuff. They're doing this, they're doing it. But it's like, again, until they actually, of their own free will, choose a different path, the energies will remain the same. And it's come to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't care if this tarot reading shows that this other person's on the verge of doing something. I don't care anymore, because they could be on the verge for an entire lifetime. You guys see that? It's like, because it's their choice. And there's no certain destined point. Again, there's potentialities for sure. There's potentialities, but there's no certain destined point when it's like, oh, I just have to wait out a little bit longer, one more month, one more year. It's like, no, that doesn't exist. It's up to every one of their, talking about, the counterpart energy, choices to choose something dramatically different for their life overall. Not even us. It's about their life path. Okay? So again, if we are truly committed to our path of light, and we are finding out that they have committed to their path of self, and Ra channels this, right? It's like at some point they just don't even they don't even mesh anymore. They cannot be compatible. It's impossible for them to be compatible. And that I really truly feel like that happened. For everyone that's still resonating with this whole story, it's like that's just what happened. Like it got to a point where we grew so much on our journey that we just were not compatible with them anymore on a human level in any way. Again, like unless a freaking, and I even said this in the reading, like unless a miracle occurs, right? Unless Jesus Christ himself comes in and resurrects the energy of the connection that has died, and I don't get the feeling that that's going to happen, but, who knows? So anyways, you guys, we got to go all in. Like, I'm just here to say, like, we have to go all in at this point. There's no more looking back. We got to burn the ships, as we've said. It's time to reposition the sail. It's time to really step into who we authentically are and to just go from there and get so obsessively excited about that we forget all about this whole thing that happened and just take the gifts from it and receive the gifts from it and go, that was an amazing, hard, crazy, terrible, and amazing experience. I wouldn't be who I am without it. Thank you, God. Thank you so much, for all of that. But, it's time to move forward. Okay, so I hope that helps. Taylor Mason said, but I was also told that as we work, they will be pulled to work. There was a point where I was speaking this too, and I channeled this. And there was a point where that was true. Absolutely. There was absolutely a point where that was true. Okay. And for whatever reason, I just have to share, that's changed. It's changed. It's changed. And the reason it's changed is because of the choice. The choices that were made. The choice both on our end to follow a path of service and light and healing, and the path on their end to choose path to self or stay in the illusion. Okay. And I'll just say this, that if that weren't the case, okay, if that were not the case, then you guys probably wouldn't be here right now because you'd be enjoying life and union with your twin. And you wouldn't be here on a like a twin flame collective video to find out what's going to happen. But it got to a point where spirit, here's what I really feel that's happened, and it's just, I'm coming to this now. Okay. Like spirit finally said, enough is enough. For those of you feminines who have been waiting and loving and just working and growing, it's like enough is enough. You choose your path now. They're going to choose their path. And depending on that choice, that's it. It's now or never, and that time's passed. I honest to God feel that that's what happened. And I feel that happened because it was meant to set us free. It was meant to set us free. Like it was a blessing. Hard, difficult, scary, confusing. Yeah, absolutely. But done because if that choice wasn't made whenever that point happened, which I don't really know exactly when it happened, I just know that it did, then again, like, how much longer, right? And Spirit knew this. Like, our angels are guides who protect us. Like, they knew this. They are aware of things on a level that we aren't. And for whatever reason, this portion of the collective who I'm speaking to, and by the way, I've had massive drop-offs in the audience that was watching these live streams on a weekly basis, and I really do feel that, like, a lot of them either chose a different path or they came into union or whatever. I mean, their path was different. But for the collective that's here that I'm channeling for, it's like this was the reality that we stepped into. This is the reality that was, through free will, chosen. Okay, if you're still resonating with the story. And again, I've been speaking about this with really good friends who validate, agree with this. It's like part of the collective. Like, there's been splitting offs of the collective. Like, it's not the same collective we started with on day one. Some of them, maybe, God bless them, maybe they found union. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain people who were here who probably, maybe they found union, or maybe they just decided themselves to choose a negative path. I don't know. But you guys see how that works. So this certain portion of the Divine Feminine collective, yeah, our purpose was different. And I do feel it's more of a taking our power back, empowerment, okay, finding our own power in beingness, that kind of theme, right, around why we're here and what we're going to be doing from here on out. Okay, good. Let me read a couple more questions, then we'll get off for today. I think that's probably enough. We're at 111. If you guys want to, if you feel called, if you feel like you have the desire, do me a favor, hit the like button. Helps this video and channel grow so we can guide more people. And if you want continued more beingness of Brandon and to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of the Soul family. Okay. Good question, Jelaine. Jelaine says, I love your questions, Jelaine. You do a really good job of asking questions, so keep it up. That's one of your gifts, I would say. Brandon, is there, because you ask questions that are exactly in alignment with what the collector is wondering, so I appreciate it. Brandon, is there such a thing as bad or evil, or is it just a new challenge? So, good question. I would say bad or evil is just a judgment that we put on people, places, things that are of service to self, or the negative polarity. Okay, in the raw contact, raw channels, that good, bad, evil, it's all just a thing, a perspective or a judgment that humans created in order to make sense of the world. Because we as humans need to put things in our little boxes in order to categorize them. And that's the only way we could categorize that, through our judgments. But from a higher perspective, again, the path of self, which can be equated to, I would assume, evil or bad, okay, is just as required a part, just as necessary a part for reality generally, in order for the light to know itself and to discover itself. Okay? So again, and I channeled we talked about this in a couple live streams back, but if there were no evil, if there were no darkness, if there were no bad, then the good or the light wouldn't have any contrast to know itself from, right? God, and by the way, the purpose of it is for God, which is nothing but pure love, right? God is pure, unconditional love. That's the nature of the universe. The nature of reality is love, right? In order for God to know what that is, there needed to be not love, right? There needed to be the opposite of love, which is basically an illusion, because that's all there is. Love is all there is. So by creating the illusion and having humans or entities or beings choose that path, right, and have the free will to be able to choose that path as they please, then there was created something that love or God could know itself from. Does that make sense? Because it knew that it was not the illusion. Okay. That's the best way I can explain it. I hope that makes sense. I know that was a little rambly, but so from that perspective, yeah, if there is bad or evil that exists in life, it's just so that you can know on a more deeper level what you are not. You see that? And what you really are. And as a caveat to that since anything outside of love or light is an illusion, in the truth of it, and the truth of its motivation of where it's coming from, it's an illusion. Okay? Love will always be more powerful, and thus you gain recognition of your own power through the experience of evil, bad, or the dark. Because then you realize, oh, love is more powerful than any of this. Okay. And the truth will always be shown. The truth will always come to the surface. It may take some time, but the truth will always eventually come to the surface. Because it's only a limited amount of time that illusion can perpetuate itself before realizing that it's not a thing. All right. I think that's the farthest I can go with that explanation. I hope that is helpful. What's up, Susie Q? All right. Michelle Pierce says, at Tabitha, great question. So let's see what Tabitha asked. Oh, man. How have we gone an hour 17 already? You guys are amazing. All right. Tabitha says, what is the room for growth in forgiveness through this situation that the collective is experiencing with our twin flames? Wow. This is a great question. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. Oh, that was gross. There's a little flecks of magnesium at the bottom of my water. Okay. Put magnesium in my water. All right, Tabitha, what is the room for growth in forgiveness through this situation? Oh my God. This is such an amazing question. So the answer is basically, this situation happened, right? If we look at everything as an opportunity and the choices happened, all right, here we are. We chose our positive path. They chose their negative path. There's a whole bunch of shit that went down that was hard to bear, could have been hurtful, and basically brought up the reason or the opportunity for us as a feminine collective to forgive, right? If you look at your situation, if you look at the other person, if you look at what has happened throughout your relationship with them, chances are there are at least a couple things, if not many, where you have the opportunity to forgive because of the hurt that their actions have caused, whether it was conscious or unconscious. Okay? Now, when it comes to forgiveness, this is also the hardest possible thing to do, or one of the hardest or most challenging things to do generally, right? Because forgiveness means that you have to basically relinquish, okay, what feels really empowering or good to hold on to, but again is actually more of an illusion. Because if we look at things from the perspective of everything comes from love, we know that all that occurred, all of the actions that occurred from someone else to make us angry, sad, resentful, bitter, came from love to help us, to empower us on our own journeys. Therefore, it comes from love because it helps us to grow and to be better people. So if we look at it from that perspective, right, and we allow ourselves to let go of the very real, I'm not saying that these aren't real, by the way, the very real, that's what makes it challenging. The very real emotions stored in our body, if we have the courage and the faith and the strength to release these emotions inside of our body and then to replace it with love and forgiveness, holy cow, your power just went up tenfold. Like almost literally, they're saying, because think about the space. Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about the space that those emotions were holding in your body. Okay, and wherever they are, you might have emotions in your body right now. Like let's say you have them in the solar plexus, right? Or in the root, or in the sacral, or down here. Generally, they're going to be down here. Those emotions are actual, you can think of them as like actually polarized and or energetic beings in and of themselves. And energy takes up space, right? It has its own little power. And you can imagine that this own little energetic thing wants more power, right? It has its own kind of gravitational effect in the body or pull. And so if you feed, that's why if you feed these emotions, if you feed that illusion, then it grows stronger. And then it will take over your whole body. And then, right, you probably can guess what happens from there. So the only responsible choice to do, if you are really here to empower yourself, is to release it. Because the only other option that you're going to have is to feed into it. And literally the thing that happens, by the way, and again, I've mentioned this in the channel before, but physical disease and ailments is caused from choosing not to release emotions that are trapped in the body that happen from things that happened maybe even years ago. One very prominent and primary example is cancer. Okay. And I've had personal experience with this working with clients who have had cancer, where as I've investigated deep within their stories, right, and just done so much research on this topic, it's almost every single time there's some emotional or spiritual root of anger or resentment or bitterness or hate. Dolores Cannon talks about hate being a catalyst for cancer and holding on to that hate. Okay. So anyways, my point is holding on to these emotions in any way literally feeds these things, which then cause very bad effects in the body and, limit you from your authentic power. When you release them and forgive them, and forgiving these things, by the way, helps to release them. So it's all one and the same. Then what happens is you are an open vessel to receive source energy, which is love energy, and your own soul's energy and potential into that area of the body where that energy was trapped. Is this making sense to you guys? So this isn't just some woo-woo, theoretical, metaphysical process. Like this is an actualized feeling of empowerment in your own body that you feel, that you gain from forgiveness. Okay? So it's not just again, I want to be clear, like I wouldn't be passionate about this if I'm like, dude, when I've forgiven people, when I've forgiven things that I did not want to forgive because I'm like, why would I forgive them? Like they did this to me. Like they affected me in this way. Like they should pay for that. And I'm not going to let that go. Like the moment I actually forgave that, like had the courage to do that and go through that, oh my God, like I could live my life again. And not only that, like I had my own sense of self back again, and it was even more empowered. So anyways, I know that was a long answer, but that's how, to hone it in, like the twin flame journey at this point has given us the biggest opportunity to go through and have that experience, okay? And to cultivate and to gain even more love energy and authentic energy, which is also power, or your ability to impact others in our own souls. Because again, it's the deepest pains and the deepest hurt and the deepest anger that you can forgive that also carries with it the greatest opportunity to to be filled, basically. All right. Yes, Emily Turner. Yeah, by Louise something. Louise, I forget the name. But big fan of her. Big fan of her. That's exactly some of where I'm getting this information. It's a compilation of sources of things that I've read and experienced, but yeah. You're welcome. I hope that answers your question. That was the best way I could put it. Yeah. Forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Blair says, I smoke to take away the pain. I'm going to assume that you smoke cannabis or marijuana. Okay. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Interestingly, I'm definitely called to share on that subject because I've used cannabis for that purpose as well in the past. Very effective agent, by the way, of taking away the pain, of numbing things. And my experience was this, even though in those moments I really appreciated what it did and it really helped along. I probably did that. This was back in college when a whole different relationship. But after we broke up, it was like 3 months straight of literally every single moment, every single day, constantly being high on cannabis. Just to take away the pain of it. And then the moment when I decided to get off of that, because I needed to actually do work, and I was playing football at the time too, so you can imagine this wasn't affecting my career very well. All of it came in still like a truck, and I still had to deal with the pain. So no matter how long you prolong it, it's still going to be there for you to deal with eventually. So it's just a question of how and when you would like to actually deal with the truth of your feelings, which will also be a very catapulting process or very positive. Like, remember, pain and feelings is only here to help us grow and to become stronger and more wise. You can also use cannabis as an agent to feel. So now I rarely smoke these days. Like, I mean, it's only when I'm like, all right, I need to kind of really tap in. But it just takes me over the edge too easily. Like, I get really bad anxiety if I do even a smallest amount of it. But now it's like if I'm going to use it, like it will actually help me to see things from a different perspective so that I can go in and like energetically remove all these things, right? And really go deep without any conscious barriers. So it helps with theta state, by the way. Okay, so that's my advice for you, Blair. Of course, whenever that feels right for you, but I just want to share my story and experience. Luis, hey, thank you, Captain Barbosa. I appreciate that. Oh, he said cigarettes. So sorry. Okay. All right. I totally misread that one, but hopefully that still helps someone. All right. So this is what happens. Oh my God. Just some birds fighting outside. Yeah, Dolores, good. I mean, a lot of us have read Dolores because she's such an influence, I feel, in this group. She's such a gift. Dolores Cannon, Louise Hay, the raw contact's really helping. All right, let me answer a couple more questions. Michelle says, cannabis has helped me release creativity and channel, but I do believe that you have to be careful because it can take you down a bit. Yeah, it's interesting. I do believe it helps you to open up to your gifts more and to kind of tap in and to realize what's possible. But then again, right, anything like that can become a tool or a reliance. It's like what we just talked about, right? It's like in reality, you don't need anything outside of yourself to be everything that you are. But sometimes doing things like astrology, like tarot, like smoking cannabis, they help for a period of time. And they're part of the journey. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with it at all. At all. But you just got to know when they've run their course, essentially, when it's time to move on. The birds. Could you guys hear the birds? They were just squawking away, like just chaos out there. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here. Thank you guys for such what an amazing audience and participation and just engagement generally. I mean, this is awesome. Empress says me and Blair are quitting. That's awesome. Oh, I definitely do have something to share. As I think this will be the last question. I have one more thing to share, so don't go anywhere just yet. It's pretty important. All right, let me see. Vabaj Queenston says, "What is your advice overall for these energy shifts coming in the retrogrades?" Oh, yeah. Mercury's going retrograde. Remind me if you can what the other planet is going retrograde. Again, I told you guys I haven't been checking astrology very much, but I know Mercury's retrograde, and I also know, obviously, we talked about this last live stream, Jupiter's in Pisces now. Okay. Let's talk about it. I gotta check what the other, if anyone knows what the other retrograde you're referring to. Oh, Pluto. Oh, wow. Oh my God. All right. So Pluto and Mercury going retrograde. Let me see. I'm just gonna check real quick. It's funny I said I wasn't gonna rely on astrology, but now that it's coming up, I'm curious. Let's just take a quick look. And then I promise this is going to be the last question here. I'll show you guys as I go through too. So if anyone knows the date too that they go retrograde, that would be helpful. If not, we'll find it. Whoa. Sorry about this, guys. Got to get the charts up. Was not preparing to use astrology. All right. All right. So we should be up and live now. Let me really quickly, now that the screen's set up, let me see if you guys have the dates. All right. Let's go ahead and see together. So we talked about Juno and South Node being, or at least Juno being retrograde. Looks like South Node isn't retrograde anymore. And there's Pluto. Okay, so Pluto's already retrograde. And then Mercury. Let's see when Mercury goes retrograde. So here's Mercury, guys, if you want to follow along. And we're looking for a little RX right beside it. For the, oh, there you go. Okay, so, all right. So on May 30th, looks like, yeah. So Pluto will be retrograde from now all the way till then, and I'm not sure when. And I'm if anyone knows, you can let us know in the chat. I'm not going to look that up. But I always like to look at the starting date from which the retrograde happens to kind of set the stage for what is happening overall throughout the period of time, which I believe is about, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 or 3 weeks generally. Again, some of the technical details here of astrology I'm still working on, but I'm much better at channeling what's going on planetary, energetically wise. So on this day, Moon conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, making a massive square on this day to Uranus in Taurus. Why is the first word that comes to me earthquake? Wow. And again, hopefully nothing physical, but the first word that comes to me is earthquake. I don't know why. But I feel like things are most absolutely definitely going to be completely shaken loose and shaken up. Now, part of what I feel this is doing, and the reason why all of what I've channeled today is coming forth, is because if there's still people, places, things that, again, are not on solid ground, really, literally not on solid ground, the ground's going to just be released from underneath them. I just feel like, or the rug, or whatever you want to put it, the rug's going to be pulled from underneath them, and they're going to be just flat on their face. I mean, that's just as plainly energetically as what's coming to me now. They're just showing me it's just, things are just, you're not secure, you're not in yourself, you're not, on the solid ground of who you really are. It's just gone. It's just going to be destroyed. So take that as it resonates, but that's why I'm really stressing and calling everyone to be hey, kind of a wake-up call a little bit. If you're in, burn the ships, because pretty soon here ahead, there's going to be a lot of things shaken to their core to see if they can withstand. Now, it's almost like what they're saying is this is the second wave. Here's what's really fascinating is in the weekly live stream, we've been channeling we've been kind of in the sea and the roughness of the sea and going about, and we've been bearing down on our ship. They always give me the metaphor of the ship, and they've said just batten the hatches down, right? And just kind of keep moving. The storm will pass. And I feel like we've gotten through that storm a bit, or we're just getting to the end of it. And then this is going to be whew, round number 2. This is going to be just okay, here we go again, but even more intensely. And what they're sharing with me is this is going to continue to get even more and more and more intense until a point where it's just completely, again, to the point where anyone or anything that is living in illusion, it's just going to be a tower moment. Massive, massive tower moment. Okay. So that's the theme, unfortunately. That would be, again, I don't mean to be dark or kind of scare people when I say this, but that's just kind of the energy of what's coming, and I got to be honest with you guys. So batten down the hatches and be strong. All right, be strong in who you are now. That's the real word that comes to me, is strength. Have strength of character, integrity, honesty, truthfulness, strength of direction. All of these things are going to be very important for this particular, when this retrograde hits. Okay. Now, interesting that I'm just seeing this. Pluto is also at this same time that Mercury goes retrograde, opposite of Mars in Cancer and in Capricorn. Not exact. And this is going to be happening, a few days prior? No, it's actually not. Interesting. So it's closest here because Mars is on the move. It's closest here, or closer at least on this day. So yeah, as Mars gets even more close to Pluto being in an exact opposition here in alignment, that's part of what is causing these power surges and these cracks to appear in the exterior, the whole of people's life and version or facade of who they thought they were. Yeah. It's just kind of crazy because like the message is coming for us now listening, like all of us listening right now to the original channel message that I had no intention of even saying in the beginning of like, hey, make your move now, like detach and commit to your strength and your light, take your power back because you're going to need it. You are going to need it. Again, as honestly and without any, excess hype, but yeah, this is going to be big, especially when, let's just see when Mars comes into an exact opposition on June 5th. Okay. With Saturn still in square to Uranus, conjunct Ceres. Remember, Ceres is Earth, really. The feminine version of Earth in Taurus. Conjunct Uranus, I mean, with Saturn here in square, it's not easy times, all right? Not easy times at all. So I'm telling you now, get ready. Get ready, batten down the hatches, realign that sail, right? On this day, June 5th, will be significant for sure. It'll be significant. But just to keep this brief, because obviously we go through this every week, right? We're going to go through this, in our weekly live stream on Sunday, so I don't want to take too much away from that. But I would just say, in terms of direct advice for you for that question, like, get yourself ready now. That's what I'll say. Like, choose your path, choose yourself, cut away any way of being, any things you're doing that are not of you or not necessary for you anymore or not empowering you in any way or that they're taking from you. Anything like that, you got to cut right now, because it's either you go down with the ship with anything else, right, outside of you that you are attached to or on, or they're on you, or you survive, okay, and you carry on to help create the world that we are going to be living in. Remember, the vibe I'm getting with this is like, it's kind of crazy. I feel like I'm speaking like doomsday times, but it's just there. It just is present. It's like things have to crumble down before they can be rebuilt, okay? And part of the reason why we had to, as a collective, get off of this damn twin flame train, frankly, is because we have to be the ones who are and can change the world. Like, be the people who create from love the new world. Like, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this concept of the new world. I mean, there's many spiritual teachers who talk about this, but in reality, like, this is actually occurring right now. Like, this is in reality occurring. Like, the feelings I'm getting, like, things are breaking down, they're shaking up in order to tear down what is no longer true, to show through the illusion, to allow space for those who have chosen this path to create from that place. So it's kind of crazy that this is coming out, but I just want to, like, remind everyone that we've always said this from the very beginning, like, this journey was never about being in union. It was about going through the experience to discover and step into our highest soul purpose. And now, I would say, we're stepping into our highest damn soul purpose. Okay? Okay? So that's it, guys. And so anyways, I just want to share, like, in comparison to that, like, to compare, those birds are going at it, to compare this twin flame journey to that need of us to, like, be within ourselves so we can actually build a world, it's just nothing. Like, I'm just like, I'm happily able to give that up if it means that I can help to make an impact and create the world that's coming and be an influence in a positive way for the new world, right? Babah says, sorry I asked everyone. Don't apologize. If anything, I should apologize for going so in depth at it, but I mean, I'm so glad you asked, actually. I'm like, grateful you asked, because it's like that needed to come out apparently too. Even though this is a message of, supposedly a message of hope, love, and inspiration. We'll just leave this one in the Q&A. Oh, boy. Yeah, Taylor. She says, I'm scared to enter into the world of intuitively and spiritually helping people because I don't want to be spiritually or even physically attacked. I had this fear too. Because I was really, I mean, I was attacked by a demon at age 11, and I did a live stream about this where I had to go back and like save myself. So I get it. But it's going into that fear, right? That's going to cause the greatest empowerment. And you will, and always will be safe. Work on your sacral chakra in your root. When you have a strong foundation in your root or sacral chakra, it actually really helps you to be protected and strong in your own energy. If we're just up here in our, crown and third eye, it's like, especially if we're just ungrounded in our third eye, it's like, who knows what the fuck can come in and happen. But if you're really grounded in yourself and your root, your sacral, you're protected, you're safe, and you can feel the difference. So I'd recommend going there actually. And plus, really the root of your question, no pun intended, is about feeling safe, which is associated with the root chakra. So I'm almost positive that if you were to explore and heal that particular area, that you can, you will find more confidence, right, and safety in your own being. That's awesome. Empress. Babaj, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. Susie Q, listen, Vegas 2022 Soul Tribe. Possibly. Oh, did Captain have a question? I saw Captain's. Some people said, Captain, good question, but I didn't see what the question was. So, Captain, I love, even though I said that the last one's going to be the last one, I love that if we could finish out on an actual captain, like with the metaphor of the ship that we've used, and then the question that everyone's been seeking is like from Captain Barbosa. Did you change your name just so it would be in alignment with the metaphor we've been using? Like, that is so amazing. That's so crazy. I will definitely answer your question. How cool is that? All right. Captain Barbosa says, time for one more question? Question mark. So if our twin flame doesn't choose to do the growth work and we do, does it benefit them anyway since it's all mirrored in 5D energy? She said yes. All right. Good question. So one thing I want you guys, and this will be the last question because we've, gosh darn it, gone almost 2 hours, and this was literally going to be like a 20-minute channeled video. All right, you guys, I love you guys. All right, Captain Barbosa. So one thing I want you guys to start to realize and to recognize is that there's a very big difference at this time between the 5D version of your twin flame and yourself and the 3D version, the actualized human present reality version. The challenging part for the feminine, particularly, is that we have such a strong connection with the 5D generally and the spirit realm and the other realm, is that we get the two confused. And we say, wait, but our 5D connection like loves us unconditionally and we love them unconditionally, and they're giving me messages of hope and inspiration and positivity and strength. And somewhere deep inside, that must translate into the 3D reality version of our twin. How many of you guys can relate to this, where you are putting in or projecting the energy of your 5D version of your twin which, yes, are in reality the same. It's just you have to realize that even though they're the same, you can have a 3D version of a person who has not integrated or connected with their higher self. Does that make sense to you guys? The challenge is the feminine, of course, is doing this, is integrating her higher self with her 3D self. They're becoming one. You see that? They're becoming, the 5D and 3D version of the feminine is becoming one. And this is not necessarily the case at this time, at least, from what I can feel, is for the masculine, collectively. Okay? And it won't be for as long as they choose the path of negative polarity or illusion. They literally cannot integrate their higher self because their higher self is nothing but love or truth. Like, it's not compatible. So you have to know your higher self is completely different. Their higher self is completely different, and you will have a different relationship with that higher self, completely different than what you will have, and also what is appropriate to have with your 3D version of human twin. Okay. And so again, the challenge we're learning as the feminine is separating those two, even though we don't want to. We don't want to separate. We want those two to be the same, but they're not, because that's just the reality of it. So it's separating those two aspects, saying, all right, I know that me and my 5D version of my twin are obviously, right, unconditionally in this loving, intertwined, amazing soul union that I can experience at any time in my life. But unfortunately, the human version is not merged with that version yet. They're not representative of that version just yet because of their free will. And thus, I must treat that person as if they were any other human being and treat them as if their actions were in alignment, or I'm getting my words mixed up. Treat them as if you would any other human who had acted in the way they acted towards you. That's what I meant to say. Which, again, I recognize is difficult to do because we know and we can feel as the feminine collective the truth beyond the 3D. We're not stuck in the illusion of just the physical. We can see, oh my God, but this person has such a beautiful, loving, amazing, and incredible 5D soul that I'm unconditionally intertwined with and in love with. Why can't their 3D version, or here's another one. I know that deep down inside their 3D version can feel this too. They just haven't brought it out yet. Right? How many of you guys can relate to that one? Trust me, I get it. And you're going to continue to feel, right? Those of you guys still feeling, you're going to continue to feel their presence for the rest of your life. Because you guys are connected on a 5D level. It's very real. Like, I'm not, you guys have to realize, like, this isn't information I'm getting telling you because I read in a book. Like, I'm experiencing the same things as you guys. I'm a part of in the same journey. And I'm sharing this because this is what I've realized. This is what I've learned. All right. Okay. So my whole point is, oh no. Oh, I think I lost the stream for a second. Hold on. I think you guys are still on though. Yeah. Okay. There we go. The whole point is, right, take the actions that have occurred in real life, in reality, on a human level, okay, as if they were the truth, so that you can find true empowerment in your own human and soul's progression on Earth in reality in the 3D right now, because that's what's called for. That is what's called for and what's necessary because of the work that we need to do for this world. Because we're going to be doing this work in a world that's very real and very tangible and very much on a human level. And I really feel that Spirit and this journey has taught us the value and the reality of that. Even with crazy amounts of clarity and connection with the spirit realm and connection with that, which is helpful, we also have to learn how to take action and take action based on others' free will actions in reality and treat others as if they were just that sometimes. Okay. All right. So that's what I have for that. I hope that helps. I know it sucks, says Taylor. I'm mirroring that. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun to talk about this stuff because it sucks. We all wish that were not the case, right? But again, everything's an opportunity to learn and to move forward from. And free will is a thing, and that was a choice. All right, guys, that's enough for today. Thank you so much for your questions. The last thing before you go, I do have an announcement, so don't go anywhere just yet. I have a surprise announcement, and I think the person I'm going to be sharing it about is going to be just as surprised if she hasn't realized what I'm going to say. But we have someone in this collective, possibly multiple people, depending on what she wants to do. Michelle Pierce in the chat, who has decided to take it upon herself to start a couple or even just one small-ish Zoom group for those of you guys who want a safe space to be involved with people from the same collective, going through the same things, and also just to share your experience, right? And to be a part of a group or a process that will allow you to feel validated in your journey and what's happened, and share in a closer manner with like-minded people, right? That will help give you confidence to move forward. Of course, I have no idea if that's, exactly what her intentions are, but that's what I felt from it when she told me about it. And so if you guys want to be a part of a group like that, okay, here's what we can do. Michelle, if you are open to it, you can share your, she knows, you can share your email with the chat here and just have them directly, look at all the people's going to sign up. I knew it, Michelle, I knew it was going to be a hit. I told you to be ready. You told me. She said, we were emailing back and forth, and I said, I hope you're ready because the time is now. And she said she was ready to take it on. So anyways, I'm grateful for you, Michelle, for doing that. But if you guys want to be a part of that, Michelle, let me know what you prefer. You guys can either email her directly, Michelle, if you want to put an email in there, or you guys can email me and I can transfer them over. Whatever you want to do, however you want to handle it. But just know that that's a thing. And yeah, if you guys want to join into that, just let us know. You can drop us a comment or leave an email, I would say. Okay. All right. And that way Michelle will know who's a part of it. Michelle, did you want to put your email or no? Would you prefer that people reach out to me and I can transfer them to you? Before we go. Look at everyone so excited. And just so you guys know, I won't be a part of these groups. Maybe at some point I'll make a special guest appearance if she invites me on, but I've already told her this is her thing. This is her thing. And she just wants to create, again, a safe space for you guys. Okay. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to pin this comments. Thank you, Michelle. I know I totally probably took her by surprise. She probably wasn't expecting this. She's like, what email should I give? Okay, there we go. So I just pinned the comments, I believe. I think I pinned it. There you go. So if you guys want to be a part of this group, again, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's free, but I mean, I don't know if there's a donation thing or something for Michelle, but I feel like she's, I'm promoting it because she genuinely feels like this is part of her purpose to help set these groups up for all of us. She legitimately said, she was like, just this is necessary for people to share their stories and to be validated and not, get some closure from this whole situation. You know what I mean? In a more personalized format. And I'm sure she's got so much more magic to offer in addition to that. Okay. So shoot Michelle an email if you're interested, and let the fun begin. So you guys enjoy that. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear how it goes in the weekly and future live streams. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. And I love you guys. Thanks so much for showing up. Thanks for letting me be me. I hope you enjoyed this. Do me one last favor if you haven't already and you really enjoyed this content. It really helps me if you like the video. So again, we can find and guide more people. And of course, if you want to be part of this collective, if you're resonating with the story, if you're resonating with me as a guide, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Okay. I appreciate all the donations, by the way. If I didn't call that out, thank you so much for the donations. I think Susie Q and a couple other people sent donations, so thank you. I really appreciate it. You're welcome, Jelaine. And in terms of where you can see me or reach me from here on out, I'm still kind of transitioning into my next thing, so I don't really know exactly what that's going to look like, but I do know it's going to be more working in like extended, we can say guidance containers that I have. So you can find that on my website if you're interested in working month to month with me. Personal sessions could be opening up here pretty soon. I keep getting more and more of a feeling that there might be time, but I do feel I have to figure out, again, more of what I want to do genuinely from me, and that's still under construction. So I'm making that pivot just with you guys. There you go. Follow her on Instagram too at free2bemj. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I think she just created that, so that's perfect. Perfect. Go follow Michelle. Susie Q. All right, Brandon. Well, we can trust you'll be working on our musical that you'll be sharing with us very soon. Gosh darn it. You guys do not forget, do you? Oh boy, you guys are not gonna let me get away with that one. All right, it will be coming soon. I've been working on it a lot, and it's getting close to where I'd feel somewhat okay taking a leap of faith to share it with you guys. But it will probably be on TikTok, just so I don't have it up on YouTube yet. So keep that in mind. So make sure you're on TikTok. All right, guys. I love you. I gotta go. Take care, and make sure to reach out to Michelle, and we'll see y'all soon. Take care.